We are prepared to give up so much freedom for the illusion of safety. Driving is not an exception here. When I was 14 years old, I got my first motorcycle. I was so happy. For years I was watching others riding theirs. Now I got mine. It was a 50cc engine limited to 50 kilometers an hour because that was the only kind you could ride when you were 14. But at the same time I got my bicycle, the state decided that this was a dangerous activity, that we need helmets. So all my freedom, the wind in the hair, all that was in a way gone. Though me and my friends, we never used helmets, or very rarely. But still the rule was there that we should. Then when I was 18, I got my first car. In our country, you had to be 18 to be able to drive a car. So I was happy that now I'm a grown-up. I have the possibility to drive a car. But at the same time, I guess in the same year, the state proclaimed that this is a dangerous activity and that you need to wear a seat belt. I rarely did, or better, I never did, because my car was not a new car, and the car was not yet complaining if I did not had my seat belt buckled up. So sometimes when a policeman would stop me and say, "But didn't you know that you'll have to pay now that you did not have your seat belt on?" Well, usually I responded, but it's not even that expensive price to pay to be free. Because today, because of the airbags, it is quite deadly to be involved in a car accident and not being buckled up. But then it was not so. Then it was just someone imposing my safety on me. And I understood that there is some safety that should be imposed to people. For example, speed limits, because especially in the town, there are other people around you, and if you drive too fast, you can endanger them. But if I'm not having my seat belt on, I'm just endangering myself, no one else. So I mentioned speed limits, did I? And how sensible it is to follow them. Or is it? Because when I got my first car in our country, we still had limitations that were 60 kilometers per hour in the city and 80 kilometers per hour outside of the city. Then, around the time when we got into EU, We changed that so that now it is 50 kilometers an hour in the city and 90 kilometers per hour outside of the city. So it makes sense, doesn't it? Except that these limitations today, they look like they're informative, because it used to be that those were the only limitations. In Italy, they had 10 kilometers per hour in the parking lot. It was laughable because you could never drive 10 kilometers per hour with a car. But still, nobody was charging you if you drove 15 or 20 kilometers per hour. But today, in our modern world, we have signs for the speed limits. Signs everywhere. 30 kilometers per hour areas in certain parts of certain cities. And then on regional roads, when you go through towns, you usually have, when you come to a town, you have 50 kilometers, but then there is a sign 60, 40, 70, 40, 50, 60, 30, 40, 50. It's incredible. If you don't watch the signs all the time, you never know how fast you can drive. It's like somebody is making fun of us, training us for something, because this is not safety. Did you notice then that when they are calculating the distance that a car needs to stop, they never take account of the reaction time? They have a constant of, I don't know, 2 seconds. Of, I don't really know. I don't care. What I care is that if you know that the rule is 50-90, when you are driving, you know approximately how fast you are going by the feeling. You are driving your car for years, you know how fast you are going, but you will never know to the kilometer exactly. If the speed is 50, if you go from 45 to 55, you know that you are somewhere there. And you can look at the road, and you can look at the side of the road if somebody's coming. But if you are constantly looking at the speedometer because you don't want to pay the state if you are 1 or 2 kilometers too fast, then your reaction time is doubled, tripled. And what does that do to the road you will travel before a full stop? But nobody takes into consideration this. Or new cars that don't have any buttons in them anymore, and you have to do everything on the screen. Who is taking into consideration the time you are looking at the screen? Nobody. And then there are even worse monstrosities. I often drive through a small town that has a school, and near the school there are cardboards silhouettes with children, very, very realistically made. I guess they wanted to achieve that when you notice them, you subconsciously slow down because there are children. But they did not think of something else. First time you will slow down. The next time you will slow down. But if you drive all the time there, when a real children will come, you will not slow down because you will be used that there are cardboards, not children. So something that wanted to improve safety made it so much worse. And then there is another thing they are doing to improve safety: speed bumps. How much damage are they doing to our cars? I cannot even imagine. And even if they would not do a physical damage to a car, every time when you have to slow down almost to a full stop and then increase your speed again, where are all those CO2 fearmongers? This is increasing our fuel consumption. But I guess no price is too steep for safety, because safety is one of today's religions. I guess the biggest religion after money. But one day we'll have to decide, do we want to be safe above all, or do we want to live? Because if you want to be safe in regard of traffic, you should stay at home. But you know, being always at home is not safe either, because you're gonna get sick. So it's not safe. Nothing is safe. But today we don't let people enjoy their life anymore. We don't let people enjoy their car driving anymore, if you wish. Because we don't like people, do we? Our society doesn't like people, because people are trouble. Technology is much better. So for all these issues or problems like speeding or not driving carefully or whatever we are doing behind the wheel, the society has a remedy for that, and it's called self-driving cars, because they don't trust us, but they believe in technology. And what are we driving our cars anyway? The important thing is that we go from one place to another. The joy of driving cars will be reserved for rich people that will drive their Ferraris around. But for us, common people, we will be driven. So my friend, if you live in a country where it is still legal to drive a bicycle without a helmet, leave your helmet at home if you have one. Enjoy your ride. Enjoy your life. It's time we stop surviving and start living.